Hi, I'm Ange.
I'm Cindy.
We're Faking Sanity, and we run a bookshop / tea shop, coffee shop, cafe, yarnish store called Faking Sanity as well, which
In Dawson Creek,
sums
BC.
us up pretty well. We're in Dawson Creek, BC, so Canadian, and welcome. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back, and if not, welcome to your first podcast with us. Take it away.
Okay, well, you can find us on Instagram at We Are Faking Sanity, or Ravelry. We have a group, Faking Sanity. And one of the things we're doing in our group right now, actually with our knit night, we have a knit night Thursday nights with a group of ladies in the store, as well as on our Ravelry group, is what we're calling the Knit the Alaska Highway Make-Along. So we're calling it Knit the Alaska Highway, but it's knit, crochet, spin, weave, cross stitch. And what we're trying to do, so Dawson Creek is the start of the Alaska Highway, and it's the big anniversary. It's 75 years this year since it was built, and so we are measuring how much mileage is the word, even if it's not metric. How much mileage we knit, crochet, spin, weave, cross stitch, yarn used, and seeing how far up the highway we can make it. So far we are about 27 kilometers up the highway, only 1,000 and some left to go. Anyway, it's going until the end of the year, so it's a very long time, and everyone is invited. So if it interests you at all, it doesn't matter what you're working on. We wanted to make a very open make along,
and whips are welcome, so join us if you've got something on the works.
If you're working on a whip and you finish it, you can claim the entire mileage. There's a lot more information on our Ravelry group, but we'd love to have everyone join us and maybe get even farther up the highway. And speaking of whips, you want to start?
Sure. So I only have one with me right now. I'm doing my Biscotte Compagnie Bis-Sock sock in the Tangfish colorway, and I love this colorway, and this yarn is fabulous. And I tried like 3 different heels.
I was going to say,
one.
it was a different heel than the last time I saw it.
Yes. So I started with the sweet tomato heel.
Mm-hmm, that's one I saw.
Which looks really cool in self-striping. It keeps the patterning together. But I didn't gauge the length quite right, and it was a little tight. And since I had to frog it back, I thought I'd try something else. So I just did what I call my bottom flappers. I've done it a few times. So it's just a traditional heel flap, but I do the flap on the bottom. So as though I was knitting a top-down sock.
But you're doing it toe up.
Yeah. Doing it toe up. So I start with the flap and then do the heel turn and pick up the stitches. So the cushy part is on the bottom here.
It actually, and the stripe looks really cool.
Yeah, it actually worked out quite nicely.
Yeah.
And it fits nicely, and it has a bit more depth because there's a bit more stitches across the instep here. So I'm quite happy, and I'm so excited to get these done.
Oh, and it's such a nice yarn.
It is.
It's just squishy.
Because it's a little more loosely plied than most of the stuff I knit with. Frogging it back and putting it back on the needles was a little
harder.
Tougher. Like once it was frogged, it was a little splittier, but not bad. And I did it 3 times because this was the 3rd incarnation of the heel, so it stands up quite nicely.
Of course.
But that's my whip.
Well, mine isn't even a whip yet. In this case, just I have to show off. This is the yarn that I'm going to make of the same Biscotte. And
I love their rainbow.
It's little kind of micro stripes, all rainbow, and I love rainbows. Anyone who knows me knows this about me. So these are probably going to be fingerless mitts, just because then everyone can see my rainbows. And it's in my rainbow Space Invaders bag.
Such a geek.
Anyway, so my actual whip is not knitting because
she's been a little obsessed with something else.
I've been a little obsessed, lately. And I haven't actually done. Well, I have done some knitting, and you'll see it in the finished objects thing. Amazingly enough, but this has been my whip. Let's see if I can. Ooh.
So
it is cross stitch.
You should put it a little closer.
It's cross stitch. It's massive. It's
not done
luckily,
yet.
It's
so
not
the
done.
parts that look uncolored. It's
Well,
'cause
no, you get weird colors in here
Yeah.
because it's a printed pattern on. But it
looks
is
so cool.
It is Van Gogh's Starry Night, and it is 210 stitches by 155. So a lot of little cross
How
stitches.
many shades of blue?
Well, there's 60 colors in the whole thing, and I think 32 of them were different shades of blue.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's so much fun. I've just been totally obsessed.
It's going to be fabulous when it's
I
done.
love it. It's a Christmas present. But
She'll love it.
yes, that has been my whip, my only whip. Well, yeah, my only actual whip right now.
Yeah. So you had a whip until last night.
Yes,
Which will
yes, I finished something
lead
else
us
last night.
into FOs.
Yeah.
So we actually both have been working on FOs for some of our staff. And so we wanted stuff that was easy to wash, and it's their first winter in Canada, and they're already feeling cold. So we
It hasn't
thought
even snowed yet. I feel so bad
we
for them.
needed to make them some nice warm woolly stuff. So I just did, it's a pattern called Faux Brioche Hat and Scarf Set by Christina Frerking. And I just knit it out of a Caron Big Cake from Michael's.
which are
It's
really
actually
great.
quite nice.
Yeah.
And it's a 300-gram ball, so I had enough to do from the same colorway, the scarf and the hat, and still had a bit left over. But it's nice. It's just a deep beanie, which I think should fit him
Yeah, I think so.
nicely. Like, it's
And
a little big
such
for
good
me,
colors for him.
but I think it'll be perfect
Yeah,
for
it looks
him.
better on me. I've got a bigger head.
Yeah. And it's just a nice textured stitch.
I really like that
So,
stitch.
and she calls it the faux brioche. It's basically just a broken rib, but you do, instead of a multiple of 4, you do a multiple of 4 minus 1, and it offsets the rib, so it gives it that texture. So
That's exactly a broken rib.
well, one of many broken
Okay.
ribs. But so the pearl bumps look a little bit like the carried yarns in a brioche.
Yeah.
And it's super stretchy. And yeah, I think it'll be a really nice
And the
fit.
scarf. Oh, you haven't woven in your ends.
I
They're not.
didn't.
It's not a finished object.
Oh, it's totally
She
a
hasn't
finished
woven in her.
object.
No. So
Look, all the ends are woven in on. I don't finish stuff.
Neither do I.
Things sit unfinished for a year, but all the ends are woven in on a hat. Look,
But not on
inside
the
out,
scarf.
all of them.
Not on the scarf.
Oh, shush.
But it's a really neat colorway because it's just these nice big chunks.
Yeah, and I've got, even with this really dense stitch pattern, it's about 8 inches per color. And I got about 1.5 color repeats
very
in
cozy.
the
Look at
scarf.
the ends.
And it's, shush about the ends. And it's about, that's about 56 inches.
He will love
it's
it.
not blocked yet or anything.
or ends woven in. He will love it just because, yeah, they're a little
And it
cold.
seems, I think it's his colors.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're already complaining about the cold, both of them. So I think it'll be a good surprise.
Well, I'm doing, well, I finished. It's also a Caron Big Cake. It is a cowl. It's just a double wrap cowl. Oop. I just did it nice and tight so it would keep her warm. And it's totally her colors, I think.
Yeah, I love that colorway, actually.
And it is, here, I'll show it off. It is called That Pretty Stitch by Susan Ashcroft.
Is it that pretty?
Yes.
Yeah.
That pretty
stitch or that nice stitch?
Crap. One of the two.
It's by Susan Ashcroft on Ravelry.
Yeah.
That pretty stitch or that nice
I'm
stitch?
pretty sure it's That Pretty Stitch. But it is, and it was so fast to knit just because, like, it was just such a, I don't know, good repeat length, and I didn't get
Well, and
totally
you can go,
bored. And
like, I
yeah.
I just have one more section, and they're short enough. You can
Yeah,
see the
exactly,
progress.
exactly. So yeah, it's just a little cowl, and I basically used one repeat of the Caron Big Cake. So I'm gonna also make her a hat and
And mitts too.
fingerless mitts or mitts. I'm not too sure yet.
You should have enough for mitts.
I should,
Yeah.
and that'd probably be warmer for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my finish.
And if
it's
they're
not
if they're
blocked.
cold in
It will be soon.
September, they're going to appreciate closed
Yeah.
mittens by October.
Yeah, and so it's their Christmas presents, but they're gonna get them early so they don't freeze.
So they can enjoy them when it starts getting cold.
Yeah. Do you have another finished up?
I do, actually. I've got 2. You've got a couple as well,
Yeah, I do.
right?
Yeah.
So the other one, you saw this one in the last podcast as a whip. So this was my accidental singles scarf. And it turned out really nice. It's the medium Haunui from Heavenly Wools. And I was so excited when I was spinning it, but also a fair bit tired when I got to the end of the singles. And without thinking, rather than plying it, I wound it off the bobbins, off my wheel. And I didn't want to have to get it back on, which seemed like too laborious. Is that the right word? Yeah. So I just decided to knit it as singles. And I'm not usually a fan of singles, but I really like this fibre.
It
The
looks
Haunui,
lovely.
it's totally one of my favorites. I love it. And her dye job's really cool. So it shifts from this navy, or not navy, kind of slatey blue-gray into the natural color of the fibre, which is her light gray, oatmeal kind of colored, and then into the pink. And she's got really nice transitions. Like, it's not a super smooth one, but it's really interesting. Like, there's a bit of crossover between the colors. I really like it. So I think this one will end up in the shop. It's not really my colors. I love it. And it's got such fabulous drape. I did it like on a size, it's a lace weight single, and I did it on like a size 4 needle, I think. Yeah,
It's really-
size
yeah.
4. So it's quite open. But the fibre, it just blooms nicely. So you can see there's not actually holes in the fibre. It's quite nice. I really like it. So that's my next one.
Okay, so my next one I think was my whip last time we
Yeah,
recorded.
you had one.
So did I actually have one finished?
One finished. Yeah.
Better than I thought.
Mittens!
I made mittens.
And 2 of them. No ends.
I've woven in all my ends and everything.
Show off.
I haven't blocked them or anything because they're mittens. They don't need blocking.
They're blocked. They're on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Though I really want to get these mitten blockers.
The ones from Burning Impressions.
too on Etsy. They are fabulous.
She's at Knit City
I know.
this week.
All these people are at Knit City and I'm jealous.
Not there.
We couldn't go. But these are the Quick Knit Chunky Mitts by Cozy Up with the Stitch and Sisters. In Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. And I did it with the needle that they called for, which is kind of silly because I knit really tight. So they're nice and small, so they fit my hands. So they were perfect. But I think if I was planning on making a few pairs to sell at the store, and I'll probably go up needle size because these are solid mitts and quite small.
Yeah. You knit really tight.
I knit really tightly. I have to use metal needles. If I use wooden needles, I literally have to push the stitches off the needle. It's really bad.
They were laughing at you when you said that
I
yesterday.
know, it's
They
really
came,
bad.
well, not
Jamie and
they,
Sarah.
but Jamie and Sarah came by yesterday to pick up some
it was nice
needles
to
for
see
a
them.
class. So
Yes.
it was fun to say hi. So hello again.
And before you go into that one, I challenged myself. I decided to knit or crochet baby hats for the hospital. I used to knit some and they just took so long, but crochet ones are so fast and they're so cute.
Lazy.
They're so cute. Okay.
They really
I
are.
did this one. Actually, I did one even bigger and then somebody was like, that's way bigger than a baby's head. And I'm like, I don't know. Babies are scary. So then I made a little tiny one and I think it looks ridiculously small, but
Newborn size.
I know, but yeah. And I'm just making these ones mainly out of Colorwheel by Loops and Threads. I think they're discontinuing it. It's been on sale at Michael's for a while.
But they didn't have it before, so I think it might be a promo while it's
Don't know.
new.
It's a great like they're 50 gram? Yeah, 50 gram balls, and they've been on sale for $1, which is amazing.
And
even
the
for
regular
acrylic.
price is like $2. They have it 50% off.
And they're acrylic, which is wonderful for baby hats.
Yep.
And I also got some yarn at the dollar store that I'm going to use for baby hats. But I'm trying to.
That one was really nice.
There's some really nice
Yeah.
stuff. Our dollar store has some decent yarn.
An odd selection, but really nice stuff.
And my challenge is to make 52 hats in a year. I'm already behind, but
Shocking.
but they're
but if you're
really
working at it,
fast. If
you'll
I just
get a
sit down,
bunch done.
especially in the Christmas holidays, I'll just sit down and do a bunch.
Yeah.
So
Remind me later to talk about my challenge for myself.
Oh.
So my
I even know.
my third FO this week, it was
Oh,
going
sorry,
to
Heather.
be it was going to be a hat made out of this yarn, but somebody bought it at Knit Night, which was cool. It was one of my favorite patterns, the Amanda hat. But so I decided to show you the bag I made out of the same yarn instead. So this is just a little drawstring bag that I made out of yarn that from sheep that were raised right here in Dawson. The yarn is from
Right outside Dawson.
5 minutes. The hill behind us.
Bear Mountain.
It's a hill.
It's a hill.
It's from, the yarn is from one of our Knit Night ladies who raised the sheep, and her shop on Etsy is called Laughing Lamb Woolery.
Yeah, I think so.
I wrote it down just to make sure. I usually just get it from her, so.
And we have it right there.
Yeah, Laughing Lamb Woolery. I just wanted to make sure. And her shop's on vacation right now. I checked this morning. But yeah, it's
fabulous.
It's really nice yarn. It's a little bit crunchy.
Oh,
not
really?
Not super scratchy, but a fair bit crunchy. It's English Leicester and Border Leicester, I think she had. And the really cool thing is on the label for the yarns, she shows the picture of the sheep it's from. So like the black is from her black ewe called Nix, and the white was from Baby and another one, and then the kind of bracken color is the one that's mixed the black and the white together.
And some of she just says from the boys.
Yeah. And this pattern is the Creeping Jenny bag by Amy Klimt on Ravelry, and the only mod I made really was it has a leather bottom, and instead I just crocheted, like took a really small crochet hook and did a really dense crocheted bottom. And then the pattern is exactly as it calls for, other than I did the top and bottom portion a separate color. Hers is a 2-color bag. And then it has this cool I-cord bind off, applied I-cord bind off, which I'd never done before.
I love the I-cord bind off.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then it just has a couple of eyelets at the top that you run a ribbon or something through. So I haven't found the right cord yet, so I just wound my own monk's cord. But I'll find something nice. Yeah. But I did a pretty good job on the floats. I tend to make my colorwork floats too tight. But it was actually pretty good on this, even though they were longer than the ones I did on my mittens, which would have fit a kid about 5 years old instead of my hands. So I did a much better job. So I'm feeling confident in my next colorwork project.
Cool. Someday I'm going to do some color work.
You should.
It's like the only thing I haven't done.
You've done a little bit.
A little tiny bit.
But yeah, that's my...
And sorry, I totally forgot about that one. So you can go next with your Waiting for Rain. Well, we'll kind of do it together because we both have one.
So last episode, Cindy had me pick a project out of a bag that she had nearly finished.
My Whip Lucky Dip.
Her Whip Lucky Dip. And we both had one that was unfinished, and I was feeling guilty that she would get hers done and I wouldn't. So we actually both did.
We both have them. So all I had to do left on this one was weave in ends and block. I'm really bad for that.
Same for me.
So, but yeah, I did, and this is my Waiting for Rain. I made it a bit smaller. Well, I did it in a fingering weight, and I took some of the rows out just to make it a bit smaller.
Yeah. And you used... it's just over a normal skein, right? You used one skein of the Alcidina?
I don't remember.
The skein of yarn you used was 700 yards or so.
Yeah, I think I actually ended up using about 400 yards.
Oh, okay.
400 meters, actually. So,
I'm really surprised that you did the Picot bind off.
I loved the Picot. This was just one of her suggestions.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, it took me forever, but I loved the Waiting for Rain pattern. It was, because garter, if the whole shawl's in garter, I will just like fall asleep on it.
She will.
But these wonderful little like rips of lace. It's
a good way to look at it. It's like a tear in the fabric, but it's all lace
the lace doesn't really show up well in the variegated, but I don't care. I loved the yarn and I loved the pattern.
It was fabulous yarn. I'm sad her shop is closed.
Yeah, so the yarn is Alcidina, which I think we talked about last time.
A little bit, yeah.
I am not really a shawl wearer, but this, I think, will go into the rotation because it'll keep me warm in the winter.
And it's really soft.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a yarn with cashmere or anything. It's just a sock yarn, but it's really nice.
I love knitting shawls, but I'm not a shawl wearer. Yeah. So, if anybody wants a shawl.
I'm in the same boat.
I'm already broiling. Okay.
Yeah, it's...
Okay. I mean, it's cold.
It's cold
here,
outside,
just
but
not
it's
inside.
not cold inside yet. Yeah. So, in my Waiting for Rain, I did... I used about 1 3/4 balls of Malabrigo sock in the Rayon Vert colorway.
So pretty.
It's actually really nice and large at that size.
It's way bigger than mine.
So it's fingering weight, not DK. but it blocked out a lot. It's like, hang on, I wrote it down.
And we probably used the same needle size, but mine is much denser. It's so nice.
Waiting for Rain. So the pattern, we hadn't mentioned, the pattern is by Sylvia McFadden on Ravelry.
Just kind of assumed everyone
It's called
knew.
Waiting for Rain. Most people know it, I'm sure, because there have been so many. I used a US size 4.
I have no idea what I used because I
and it's
didn't
like,
write it down.
I write everything down. I'm a little anal retentive. So it blocked out to like 17 inches deep and like 72 inches long. So it's quite long.
I want to let's compare the middle.
I think yours is about 12 or 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, a fair bit shorter. But it's lovely. I really like how it sits.
Yeah.
And it's cozy, whether I just throw it on my shoulders or wrap it around my neck, and it's got enough length to cover your arms a bit. So
yeah, it's
nice.
great. And the Malabrigo sock. I mean, probably everyone's.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a reason it was the first yarn we brought in.
Yeah, it was, and it's still one of our goes all the time. So that was the thing we picked out of my Whip Lucky Dip last episode. So
It's Whip Lucky Dip time again.
It is. I probably haven't mixed this well, but
so if you're just joining us the first time, Cindy has a tendency, not just occasionally, to leave projects nearly done, but almost
I'm
always.
really bad.
So this bag, along with maybe 4 or 5 more like it at home, are filled with projects that just need to have ends woven in or blocking or
some
sewn
are
together.
partially made.
So-
some need some knitting on them too, but they're
few.
things that shouldn't take me too long to finish. So Angel's gonna pick out one for me to finish, and I'll show you it and tell you what it is, and then I'll have it done by next time.
And she's got to have it done by next time. So I'm gonna grab
from the
one
bottom?
on
Okay.
the bottom here. What have we got?
Scruncha,
It's
scruncha,
squishy.
scruncha, scruncha, scruncha. They're all
It's a
squishy.
blob.
They're all squishy. They're knitting. Okay. What do I have? Oh, okay. This one actually will be really easy because
that's your orchid bee.
even the ends are woven. I just need to block it. So this I knit. I finished it in July 2011. So 6 years.
It's sat in a bag, waiting for blocking.
Yes, I have never blocked it because I am terrible. It is.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so the pattern is Orchid Thief by Isolde Teague.
I love her stuff. And you know what? I didn't love the pattern picture on Ravelry. I fell in love with this when I saw someone else's.
Yeah, Kathy, a friend of ours, knit one, and it was just beautiful. So then I had to. So I got the book, and I knit this. And then I liked it so much, I knit another one in Cascade Echo for her. So it was a big, huge one.
It's been my computer chair shawl
Yeah.
this week.
So I have to block this one. But and the yarn is Turtle Cove Farm Turtle Feet in a Go-Go.
I like that.
I have no idea. I bought it
Was
from
it from
Make
the
One.
Stash Swap?
No,
from
I bought
Make
it
One.
at Make One, which was our yarn store in Calgary.
A lovely
And-
shop.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they're still around. I mean, the Turtle Feet or Turtle Cove Farm. Make One.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen Turtle Cove Farm in a
Yeah,
while.
but it's a wonderful yarn. It's just a merino sock yarn. But yeah, so I will block
the
that for
color.
next time.
And that's a
Promise.
great color
it will
for
be
you.
done. I know, it's very
That's
me.
a lot of green.
I
knit with a lot of green.
blue is my color. But I also really like green, and it's really funny because I used to hate pink, and now I'm starting to love pink. It's bizarre.
That is weird.
Okay, so that's my Whip Lucky Dip.
Whippy dip. Whippy dip.
Whippy Dip.
So we've had a few, while testing videos, a few things that could only be considered outtakes because I was being so stupid and not realizing it. That would be another one that's in the middle of a video, so you're going to get to see how stupid I am sometimes.
Whippy Dip. No, it's okay. She was trying to show a pattern when we were checking things out, and she was like holding it like off the screen, and I'm like,
Well,
no.
I couldn't see the screen to see where it was lining up. So, we should go into spinning.
Yeah,
I need
she
a
got
sip.
some spinning done. Oh, yeah.
I'm drinking. we have a tea shop as part of our shop. So we're both actually drinking the same thing today. I think it's a vanilla honey bush. It's really nice. I used to think I hated rooibos and honey bush and anything like it, but apparently I just don't like it when it's over roasted.
Yeah,
and this is really quite
good.
lightly roasted. It's really nice. So spinning this week, actually
This week.
this month.
It's been like
this
8
episode.
weeks.
It hasn't.
It has.
Our last episode went up a month ago.
Yeah, but
4
we
weeks.
did it like...
Okay. Don't tell our secrets. So the first one, I was really lucky and got an anonymous gift from someone in a Ravelry group. I don't know who. And they sent this silk lap, which is a prep I hadn't done before. And it's like the softest cloud of silk. And it's just like a multiple thin layers of silk. Just, oh, it's amazing. Anyway, I can't even describe it. It's amazingly soft. And everything I read on how to spin a lap, because it's kind of like sheets of silk, was just embrace the texture, which I'm not super good at, but I tried.
And did it... Such a good job.
And I love the
It's
colors.
lovely.
And it's the silk is from Fat Cat Knits, which is fatcatknits.com. And I just spun it as a worsted. I did a supported long draw because I figured my normal short forward control freak draw wasn't going to work with this. But I'm really pleased with it. The colors are just incredible. She's an amazing dyer.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So this will end up in the shop. Actually, somebody's already sort of spoken for it, so I'm just waiting for her to come back to Knit Night to make sure before I put it in the shop. And the next one I spun was it was a Fibre acquisition I talked about last time from our trip to Edmonton. It was just the Corriedale from Pam's Woolly Shop, and it was just their store brand fibre. And there was a bag that was, I'm just gonna grab everything. I can read and talk. Really, I can. So one ply I did from the first bag, which was pinks and grays and plums and light blue. And then the second ply was just plum, black, and blue. And I spun like the plum first, then the black, then the blue. So you end up with a gradient when it's all opened up. So it'll end up, so you can, I've kind of messed it up a little here in the skein, but you can see the beginning is blue with all the colors running through the second ply. The second part is gray with all the colors running through, and then the third part is this kind of plummy purple with all the second color running through. So I think it'll be a nice gradient for like a hat or something, and it softened up a lot.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see it knit up. Are you gonna?
I had it at the store, but I think I'm gonna bring this one home and knit a hat out of it.
I think it'll be
because it's actually really nice colors. I quite
It
like
is,
them.
and it'll be really interesting to see how that gradient looks.
Yeah.
Because so it's gradient in one ply and not at all gradient in the other ply.
Yeah, like
And-
all the colors
it's-
shift through in the second ply.
Yeah. It's
I'm quite
really
pleased with how it turned out, and it's kind of an errand to chunky weight. So it'll be a quick knit. So
yeah, it would be.
which is the
bunch of those I
exact
gotta do.
opposite of this one. So I saw the returning showl. I'm having a hard time talking. I saw the returning shawl on Ravelry when it got added, and I just loved it.
So it looks like this.
So it's kind of a modern take on a traditional hap shawl, which is like the Scottish Shetland shawls. They often had like a center that was either garter or stockinette stitch, and then a lace border, something wavy, like often it's cat's paw or old shale or the one this one is, which I can't think of.
You can't think
but
of?
it's like old shale or feather and fan is what I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
So they're all kind of variations of that, and it's just a really everyday shawl. So I decided to spin some of my natural colored Haunui, which I talked about loving before. So this is the gray humbug blend. So it's got like streams of the light gray, streams of the medium gray, and then a thin strip of kind of a dark brownish gray. So the final color is kind of a heathered grayish brown. and it was my first attempt at spinning for a specific grist or thickness of yarn, and I was hoping for a light fingering off the wheel so that when I wash it, it'll be a fingering weight, which is what the pattern calls for. And I did it. I got like 440 yards out of 100 grams. So I think when I wash it, based on how it's behaved in the past, I'll end up with about 400 yards, which should be just about perfect. And then I'm going to spin. So this will be the main body of the shawl, which I'll start knitting, I think, as soon as I'm done my current charity hat that I just cast on this morning, so I didn't bring. And yeah, then I'll spin up probably a bright blue to go with it, and then more of the natural, like a natural chocolate brown and a natural kind of cream color.
I think that blue will just pop from it. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. So they're slow spins when they're this fine, because
Yeah.
I'm a control freak and I'm not fast when I'm trying to control everything, but I love it.
It's great.
That's my spinning.
Cool. So stash acquisition?
Do you wanna do yours first, or?
Oh, well, we can do it together, because
Okay.
so last weekend, no, not last weekend.
The long weekend.
The long weekend. So
Labor
quite
Day.
a while ago. We got a new yarn store not in town, nowhere near in town.
2 hours away.
No, less than that. So in Sexsmith, right outside Grand Prairie. So Grand Prairie is about an hour and a half away. So Sexsmith is another 10 minutes. And we had to go down and check it out, which is because, I mean, that's local for around here.
Yeah.
People go down to Grand Prairie for, a movie. Yeah, and we actually both got the same thing.
Yeah, 2 different
So
colors.
they had all sorts of things, but yeah, we got this Allegro sock yarn, and it's actually wool free. So I have a lot of acrylic things here, but it's 93% acrylic and 7% PBT.
It's a rayon.
Okay, I was like peanut butter.
No.
I have no clue.
No peanut butter in your
I got it because one of our friends is allergic to wool.
Yeah.
And she loves blues and greens. So I'm going to make her socks eventually, because actually the cross stitch is for her. So these are maybe next Christmas, but I couldn't pass it up. It was a really cute little shop.
It was. It's set up in an old train station in Sexsmith, and the ladies were fabulous.
Yeah, and if you're anywhere in, the area, go check it out.
Yeah, it was fabulous. And apparently, Jamie was saying yesterday they got in a whole bunch of new stuff since we were there.
So we're hopefully going down
so
next
we're
weekend.
hoping to go down on Thanksgiving long weekend at some point. Check it out. But yeah, and I just love the colors. And it's a nice, I don't know if you can see, but the colors are really nice. Kind of, this one has speckly bits in it, but it's a coarse spun nylon yarn. So it's got a fair bit of stretch to it. I haven't tried core spinning yet, so I'm kind of fascinated by how it knits up.
I'm really fascinated. I think it looks really interesting. It would also make awesome baby clothes.
Yeah, it's super soft.
Ooh, I want to do a baby surprise jacket out of it. Oh, I love
It's
the
pretty
baby
thin.
surprise
You
jacket.
might need a second skein.
No, the thinner, because it just makes a really small one.
That's true, like a newborn size.
Like a newborn size. Yeah.
Oh,
I
and
do-
the colors were fabulous. They had a fair bit of colors.
Yeah,
it would be nice.
I try to always have a baby surprise jacket either in progress or done. So
You've
that
done a lot of those.
I love the pattern. It's just you basically knit an
a giant
amoeba.
amoeba.
Actually, I have one on the go.
Somewhere in your whip
No,
bag?
no, I actually brought it because I was gonna show it as a whip, but really I haven't worked on it in ages.
It's a
but,
hibernating one.
Because yeah, it's a perfect like baby present, and there's always babies coming.
And they look so good. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it in self-striping yarn, in variegated yarn, and solid. It's a nice pattern.
And it's so fun. Oh, a Baby Surprise Jacket by Elizabeth Zimmerman. No, Zimmerman?
yeah, Zimmerman.
All of a sudden I questioned myself because Zimmerman is a character in a cartoon I read. But anyway.
Nerd.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. And yeah, you basically knit this amoeba and then you go flip and you just sew up this seam here and you got
It's done.
It's so cute.
It's a cool pattern.
Yeah.
The construction's
it.
really neat. I
love it.
I'm a sucker for cool construction.
Me too.
I don't necessarily enjoy knitting them all, but I find them fascinating. I like my knitting to be relaxing lately. Like it can be lace, it can be cables, it doesn't matter, but I want it to be sort of mindless.
I like really basic knits as long as they go fast. but I also like the most complex lace you can get.
See, but lace I can still do while I'm
Yes.
chatting and
Yeah,
stuff. Like
but
it's not a
lace-
brain thing
Lace
for me.
cables, I love them. I just don't tend to wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think that's why I like this one so much
Because of the garter, and then you've just got the little
it was a lot more casual than a full lace
plop.
shawl.
I don't. Yeah. Plop. I don't ask. Don't ask.
Lace goes plop in Cindy's brain.
Apparently.
So yeah, that's my. Oh no, I do have more stash acquisition.
Oh, you do.
These.
She acquired. I did not.
I did not purchase these.
No, she didn't.
So in one of my Ravelry groups, instead of the Tour de Fleece, they do the Tour de Suites. And anybody who participated in various threads, a few were voted on threads, but a couple of them were just anybody who participated in that category got their name into a draw for every skein that they did. And one of my prizes was 100 grams of Corriedale. So this skein was my very first attempt at Corriedale. I'd never spun it before. And I got 3 more. So there's a little 30-gram skein of
I love those
blues
colors.
and grays.
Those are my colors.
They totally. I actually really.
I
like
really
this
like
one
this
too.
one too. This was a
And,
lot like that yarn Janet
40
got.
grams of this, a bit of tealy blue and then warm greens and golds, and it's Corriedale and Nylon. It's like a traditional sock blend, and then this one, which is totally not my normal colors, but
No.
it feels amazing,
Yeah.
and it's Corriedale with a bit of Rayon.
I'm
Which
always
is like
intrigued to see how they.
processed like the bamboos and tencels and that sort of stuff, and you can see kind of the white streaks in there are the rayon, and it's just a cool colorway. It'll be really cool to see how it spins up.
It's always fascinating to watch when she spins something, just how different it looks, and yet the same. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's
Well, the
it's
colors
really cool.
can do different things than you would expect.
Yeah,
so.
and it's just so cool to see what she ends up with.
Yeah. And
your
the
other one?
second, I got a second prize, which just floored me, which is actually from a shop in Calgary. So the colorway is called Dragonstone, and it's just beautiful reds and burgundies, and the stripes of lighter color through it are Seacell. So it's 70% BFL, which I love, and 30% Seacell. It's just a beautiful braid. I love it. And I don't have a lot of red, and I love red, so it'll be a fun one to spin.
If you can see the wall, just a little bit up there. Yeah, we both love red too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All our
so-
walls in here are red, and then black bookshelves.
Yeah. So that's so the Dragonstone colorway from Poppy Yarn and Fibre in Calgary.
It's really nice.
And
poppyyarn.com.
yeah. So yeah, and it's like a big braid. It's 4 ounces. We're in Canada, so most everything comes in 100 grams. So it's nice to get a 4-ounce one.
Not really. Everything is both metric and imperial.
But I mean, but a lot of our yarn comes
Yeah,
in
that's
100
true.
grams. So a 4-ounce braid seems a little indulgent for me because I get a little bit more. So
that's very cool.
that's it. That's it for my stash acquisitions.
That's all. That's all. I had stash acquisitions, but it was dollar store yarn, so I'm not showing it off. But we can do our culture consumed. You want to start, or do you want me to?
No, I can. I didn't write anything down, so here's hoping I remember what I had planned on talking about. So Culture Consumed is our a little segment we do based on talking about either the books we've seen or shows we've watched or
Books we've seen. We see a lot of books.
Wow, I see
we don't
a lot of
read
books.
as many books as we used to, but we see a lot of books.
I look at them and I've seen them.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. It's so much faster. So- clearly time for more caffeine. So this week, it's been kind of 3 things since our last podcast. I went looking for a new podcast to watch, and I had heard about the Grocery Girls and watched the first one and was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and watched the second one, and then I was hooked.
Yeah, you've watched like
they're like an hour and a
lot.
half to 2 hours for most of them, an hour and 15 to 2 hours, and I'm up to like episode 23. So I've watched a fair bit of Grocery Girls. I don't know why I didn't. I'd known about them for months. I just never got around to it. But I'm really enjoying that. And they're Canadian too, which is kind of cool.
yeah, they're out of Edmonton.
So, and they
which
do a
is-
lot of like Canadian
local.
yarns and
Yes.
stuff
Yes.
on their podcast. So it's been fun.
and we're all about the Canadian yarn.
Yeah.
Or we try to be.
Yeah.
At least for the store, too.
And then
I get to go?
Oh, yeah.
Because you have a couple, right?
Yeah.
I have two, but they kind of go together. So,
yeah.
I've been rereading Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell because it came into the store and I couldn't put it out on the shelf until I reread it because I loved it the first time.
I was like, why is there a dust jacket on the shelf? And she's like, I'm just reading the book.
Yeah. It is fabulous. Everything I've read by Rainbow Rowell is amazing. She does both teen books and adult books. This is one of her teen books, but really, it doesn't matter. All adults would love this too. And it's about this girl who's going off to her first year of college, and she is a huge fangirl of a series called Simon Snow, it's in the universe of this book, it's basically Harry Potter. And
I've never read any of hers.
Oh, they're amazing. But so 7 books of the Simon Snow series have come out so far, and the whole fandom is waiting for the 8th book. And in the meantime,
doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Kath, who's the main character, she's a fanfic writer, and she is kind of well known in fandom and writing her version of the 8th book, except that, it's gay. It's basically, if Harry and Draco ended up together in Harry Potter. So it's really interesting because it's a book about a girl who writes stories based on books. And
it's very meta.
It's very meta, but it's great because she's a twin, and, her sister is trying to find her own life, and as Kath feels very like she's being left behind, and she's dealing with anxiety, and it's just, a very real person, and
I like 3-dimensional characters.
Oh, so 3-dimensional. But the really kind of fun thing about it is that at the beginning of each chapter in Fangirl, there's a little excerpt from one of the Simon Snow books.
Cool.
And then, after Rainbow Rowell wrote this, she then wrote Carry On, which is, I'm going to have to reread again, because Carry On is the fanfic that Kath was writing in Fangirl. So basically, not only did she write so she wrote a fanfic of a fictional book that's written by, it's so confusing, but
that's just very meta.
It's fabulous. It's very different style. Because
it would have to be because
it's fantasy.
It's supposed to be different.
Well, yeah, it's basically Simon is a wizard. You're a wizard, Simon. Sorry, I'm not quoting Harry Potter. So this book is about Simon and Baz and Agatha, who are all characters in the Simon Snow books, but it's not actually the Simon Snow books.
It's the fanfic based on the Simon Snow books.
Anyway. Everything by Rainbow Rowell I would recommend. I have read everything she's written, except one.
Not her newest one?
No, she wrote one like novella for it's like a free book day that they do in the UK or the US, but I don't think here.
US.
One of the two, I think possibly both, but not in Canada. So it's called Kindred Spirits. So I'm gonna track that down somehow. I think possibly it's available on Amazon now. But yeah. Rainbow Rowell, she's written one called Attachments, which is one of her adult ones, and Landline is her other adult one. And then Eleanor and Park, which we just got as well.
I was going to say, I've seen that one.
Which is really, really good. It's one of her teen ones. I think that's all she's written. I could be wrong on that, but they're all really good. Anyway. Yeah.
I have been reading a James Rollins book, which is B-movie in book form. I love him. I've read a lot of his, and they're fun and light, and if I don't get a lot of reading time, which I don't these days, it's either spinning or reading, because I can't do both at the same time. So
audiobooks.
I know. I have a hard time with audiobooks. I like them, but they're really good for a car drive, but it's not what I reach for when I'm spinning. So, but yeah, I'm reading The Sixth Extinction. Wow, I'm having a hard time today. The Sixth Extinction, which is basically he has a lot of standalone novels, but this is one of the Sigma Force ones, and they're a series, but you can kind of read them independently. And I didn't like the first one I tried, but I'm really enjoying this one. It's
good.
kind of, you know, we're on the brink of extinction, but it's going to be okay
Always.
in the end. I haven't finished it, but
It's always okay in the end.
it's always okay in the end.
Well, then he couldn't write another book, so
well,
it has to be okay in the end.
Well, and he actually brings in a lot of science that's on the brink into his
Yeah,
books. Like
you're
he's talking
totally
about synthetic DNA and that sort of thing. So
Ooh.
yeah, they're cool. They're really fun reads.
So that explains a lot about us. She likes science.
I love science.
I like fandom. No, I'm a history nerd too, but
I like fanfic too.
You do, but not like me.
No, it's a different
And we
level.
both like hockey.
We both love hockey.
The season starts this week.
And we're very excited because they're the World under 18 championship, under 17 championship is here in Dawson again this year.
Yes. So in November,
we're going to get a whole bunch of hockey in live, which is going to be
with
fabulous.
itty bitty little. I mean, they're not. They're massively tall. They're like 16, but they're 16, so they're like young kids
But
playing hockey.
It was really good hockey last time, so I'm looking forward to it.
They came 2 years ago, and we absolutely had a blast going. We cheered for the Czech team because we loved their goalie.
He had a fabulous little routine that he had to like salute his net between
Yes.
every goal, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we cheered for Canada because, well, and there's 3 Canadian teams in it. We cheered for Canada because, you know, we're good Canadians. But the Czech team was our favorite.
They were, yeah.
And so, and it's kind of cool because you see some of these guys when they're like 16. And then now this year, some of the guys that were
Are
in
being
the draft
drafted. Yeah.
were the people we saw. Like, like Sean Doogie.
Yeah.
He was like my height, 5'2". No, I'm 5'4". He was shorter than me. He was shorter than me, and he has a professional tryout with a NHL team, which he probably won't get a job. But
they're always afraid of short guys, but short guys can make the NHL. My team has a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, my team too.
But do you have any other culture concerns?
No, I don't.
So my third thing that I listened to, I know, I'm such a camera hog. The third thing, we had a subscription to the Great Courses Plus, which is online streaming of fabulous courses. And they're like by really good profs that are kind of known as being good educators. And there was one called The Theory of Everything. And speaking of loving science, it was really cool. It talked about like all the elemental forces and like how starting back in ancient Greece, how like just discovering magnetism by, you know, when they discovered magnetite would attract certain things that were near them and stuff, and then discovering electromagnetism and how it tied together electricity and magnetism, and so how all along we've been working towards this one all-encompassing theory, and how it's getting closer. So they went into quantum dynamics and quantum electrodynamics now, and your eyes are glazing over.
I find it really interesting. It does go a little over my head.
It was fascinating.
I took science classes.
It was explained in a really,
calculus
really simple, non-scientific, like, you could grasp it even if you're not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. I loved it. I got I got it. I had to focus on it, but it wasn't over my head.
Yeah.
If you would probably enjoy it.
I probably would.
And the guy who was teaching it worked at both CERN and Fermi Lab. So, and he was part of the team that discovered the Higgs boson at CERN.
That's really cool.
Just fabulous. And he's now working with the team that was, I'm tapping the table, sorry. He's working with the team that discovered the Higgs boson and is working on the gravitational waves team right now, like the one that's
I'm a little behind in my science.
I love science.
Whereas I love history. So when we had the Great Courses Plus, I watched quite a few, but I think the most interesting one was the history of Eastern Europe. I possibly talked about last time. And then I liked the professor so much that then I watched one that I didn't think I would, and it was about, I can't even remember what it was called. It was Terror and Something in the 20th Century. Ooh. Oh, but it was so good. It was all about like the rise of communism and socialism and the Nazis, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. I learned a lot because it's not an area I usually like more early modern, so 1500s.
And this is much more modern.
This
than
is
your
much more
normal
modern
stuff.
than I normally am interested in, but he was such a good professor. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because it is either Latvian or Lithuanian, and yeah, I'm not going to butcher it. But if you like Great Courses, if you're on Great Courses Plus, check out Terror and Something in the 20th Century.
Such a bad podcaster.
I wasn't planning on talking about it. I had my culture consumed.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
That's it for me. That was
Yeah.
what I was going to end with for culture consumed.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the course, and I wish I went looking if he had any other courses, and he didn't.
We only had the one.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll add some more at some point.
Yeah.
I'll get a subscription again. Ours ran
Yeah.
out, but hockey's about to start, so it's not a good time to start a new
Yeah.
TV watching
we
regimen.
watch a lot of hockey in the season because we each have our own team, so we have to watch. But this year her team sucks, so
Yeah.
she's going to watch mine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or maybe Las Vegas.
Oh, well, yes, there's a new team in the NHL this year, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and they have my goalie.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they have one of my goalies.
I might have to watch.
So we're going to have to check out some of their games.
But yeah, a little hockey sidetrack on our knitting podcast.
There's always going to be a little hockey sidetrack. Sorry.
But
We're Canadian.
we're very Canadian.
I used to hate hockey. Well, I hated hockey fans.
Yeah. Well, we lived downtown Calgary. We lived close enough to the Saddle Dome in Calgary that anytime they got a goal when they were in the playoffs, which wasn't that often, so it was fine, but anytime they got a goal, everybody would clear out and start like driving around
Honking.
the
Screaming.
17th Ave, which is right near us.
Yeah.
And screaming and honking and drinking and yelling because they were drinking and they got a goal. It was
Fans.
loud
They're
and
fans.
horrible.
But yeah.
But it's fun.
Now we're
now we
fans.
can be the screaming
We're
ones in our apartment.
Yeah,
It's
in our,
fabulous.
yeah. Anyway.
I think that's it.
Yeah, so find
Well-
us on Instagram or Ravelry.
We are Faking Sanity on Instagram and
Just Faking Sanity.
just Faking Sanity.
We're
like not
just
the word
faking
just,
sanity.
just Faking Sanity.
We are Faking Sanity. Have a good day.
See ya.